Peace, and we're live.
The Art of Relationships radio show is copyrighted. No one is to use any part of the show without express written consent from myself, Greg Dzinski, or the Art of Relationships. Thank you.
Licensed relationship and sex counselor Greg Dzinski, also known as Master G. The Art of Relationships will cover crucial elements in rebuilding emotional and physical intimacy in your romantic relationships. He will also welcome live calls from listeners and help him with these very challenges. Heard of the old repetitive and tiresome tit-for-tat arguments? Greg gets to the root of couples' challenges in a quick, matter-of-fact format, plus applies compassion and humor. Join in discovering how to improve your romantic relationship and your own life. Listen, laugh, and climax to a happier you. Greg is a licensed professional counselor in the state of Michigan, but to some of us, he is simply known as Master G.
Greg Dzinski, Detroit's Love Guru. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's having a good evening. Michelle, Cheyenne, you're already checked in, which is very, very cool. Hopefully, Jennifer, hey, what's up? Let me know if the audio, everything else is going clear. I want to make sure we have a lot of rain, high winds here in Detroit this evening. So I want to make sure everything is clear and the audio is coming across very well. So everybody, let me know if you can hear me okay. The audio, I know my voice sucks, but I want to make sure that the audio is okay. Tonight, at the beginning, I want you to be able to give me a call. Doesn't matter what the subject matter is of tonight's show, actually of any night's show. Give me a call, 313-614-9498. Again, 313-614-9498. And you will be anonymous. I will not ask you your name. I'm not being rude. I'm not being, a jerk or anything like that. I'm just protecting your privacy, whatever. If you want to. Hey, Julie, welcome. Awesome. Thank you so much for letting me know that the audio, everything is going good so far. And you can let me, give me a call. You can enter your questions down below. I will not mention your name unless you give me permission to use it, okay? I want to protect your privacy and protect your, confidentiality, if you will, as well. So people, you're going to hear me mention names throughout this evening, throughout every show. They have given me permission to use their name a long time ago, okay? So that's why you hear their name. I'm not being rude if I don't mention your name. It's just based on you giving me permission or not. If you give me permission, I'll use your name. No big deal, okay? Tonight we are going to be talking about why did you stop? A little post I did earlier today was looking at, what do you do to keep the passion going? I've done numerous shows about this, but I want to get more specific. I want to get more specific about what you do to enliven the passion in your relationship and to keep it going. A lot of people, when relationships start out, they might be hot, heavy, horny, but what are you doing to keep that going? Not only that, to keep the respect going, to stop taking each other for granted, and, to enliven the relationship as a whole. So we're going to get into that as well. So please, again, let me know your questions down below, okay, in the live chat. Again, check out my website, theartofrelationships.org. You can even get my ebook of the newest book I have out, Love's Essence, the Relationship Guide, for only like $1.99. So you can go to my website, be able to download it right away for less than $1. Well, we'll say $1, okay? And I love feedback. Give me feedback on that. Any constructive criticism, you like it, you hate it. Greg, you should have done this. You shouldn't have used such adult, vulgar, colorful language, if you will. And I want to adjust this. Sorry about that, people. But yeah, let me know. I want to hear your feedback on everything else that's going on. Jennifer's in the house. Wonder where your hubby is, Tim. But we're going to go. What do you do to enliven those aspects? And later on, I want to talk about maybe things that scare the hell out of men and even women too about going through menopause. And, what does that do as far as hormonal changes? They deplete, let's face it, estrogen levels. And women that even in their, mid-30s, early 30s, early mid-30s, 40s, whatever, that have a full hysterectomy, not a partial, but a full where they remove everything, the ovaries, everything. That puts you almost full-blown, not almost, it puts you full-blown into menopause. It might hit a month after that. So I want to get into some maybe aspects that can help you out through that, and men to be more empathetic when your lady is going through menopause, what you can do. I know a lot of men, because of the mood changes, everything else, to be able to, do you want to run away and come back when menopause is over, done with? I'm laughing, but it's not funny, okay? Why am I laughing then, right? I respect that. And one individual just mentioned that that's her, that she's going through that. I get that. We get into, the vaginal dryness and, the mood swings. And I'm going to give some insights and to try to help those elements. And that might, maybe deter the night sweats, the chills, all those elements. So we're going to get into that. That what came earlier today as a suggestion, or actually, a request, if you will, about a show topic earlier in the day from a friend of mine. So we're going to get into that later on. But I want to know, what are you doing to, why does the affection, the attention, the listening attributes, why do they stop in your relationship? And what do you do to keep the passion going, to keep the love going? And looking at, everything, when you start a relationship, everything's great, everything's hot, horny, all those aspects. You love each other. You watch what you say. You show a little bit of, respect and everything else that goes on for each other. So why does that stop? Right? Is it because you take each other for granted? You get so comfortable within, yourself, within the relationship. I think a lot of people don't even pay attention to, what they're doing, what goes on. It sort of sneaks up on you and bites you in the ass, if you will. And pretty soon you're not feeling loved. You're not feeling appreciated. You're not even feeling desired. Now, not only that, you get married or live together and, you decide to have kids, or oops, oh shit, you know what, I'm pregnant, and you decide to have kids. What happens that, it kills the passion. It kills the, electricity between you two, because let's face it, you get tired. You get overwhelmed, work and overwhelmed, stressed about the bills. Now you have more expenses with diapers, maybe childcare. You look at all those elements that create a lot of problems. And I get, we can sit there and excuse and rationalize why the passion, why the attention between the couple dies. But my premises and what I promote, it does not have to. Yes, it does take work, okay? You're already saying, Greg, I'm already overwhelmed, right? With kids, dealing with the in-laws, the outlaws, trying to schedule everything else. We don't sleep. We only get a couple hours of sleep. We got kids. We're running here, running there. My premise is, and always has been, if you've been listening to the show for a couple years now, is that the relationship needs to come first, big time. Then the kids, follow in suit. That doesn't mean you ignore the kids. But I want to know specifically, what are you doing to maintain the connection? What are you doing to maintain the affection and the passion in your relationship, right? When that dies, when you start feeling like, you're just friends, which is great. But if you just feel like you're friends and it's just a business, a relationship, how you manage the household, how you manage the kids and all that, you know what? That's fine and dandy. It's a great distraction, but you know what? Does that mean you're loved? Does that mean you're desired? Does it mean, what brought the kids into the world to begin with? Was it you two, by choice, by accident, whatever, but you still decided to have those kids? And, what happened? Step families, I need to do a show. I need to write that down so I don't forget, to do a show on maybe step family dynamics and how to do that. And it's ironic because this coming Saturday here in a county north of Detroit, Macomb County, is their annual Parenting Awareness Month. So it's their annual Parenting Awareness seminar, I don't know what you want to, seminar, workshop, extravaganza event. And I'm actually doing a seminar there on divorce and co-parenting. I don't want people to be in that situation. I want people to maintain a healthy, happy, passionate relationship and not go through divorce, okay? That, or, a breakup. And you know what? But when it happens, what do you do to co-parent and to be cordial to one another for the best interest of the kid without, being a doormat and sticking up for yourself, okay? But my premise is I want you to be able to share the passion, to keep the passion going. And what are you doing to enliven those elements to, so that doesn't happen? Or in my premise earlier today on a Facebook post, what are you doing? Are you always waiting for your partner to make the first move? You know what? Well, he's not hugging me. He's not embracing me. He don't even touch me. He don't even kiss me. The only time he wants that is when he wants to bang me or, have sex. But other than that, there's no romanticism. There's no, sensuality. He only, when he wants to have sex, fine, he pays me attention. Or her, too. It's not gender biased. Everyone assumes men are like that, but it's women, too. We get exhausted, both men, they get stressed. They get over bills, over, finance here. I got to take care of a kid or two now on top of the marriage or relationship. And how you work together as a team, that's important. But you also want to do status checks as far as where your partner is in the relationship. And also, what? Are they feeling loved? Are you feeling desired? How often do you even check in with each other? How often do you even check in to find out that they are feeling desired? They are feeling loved? And how often do you use the excuse, maybe a reality, I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed, I have no energy for sex? And why is that? Is that because you're cutting yourself too thin, maybe with the kids, with other relatives? And what else is going on in those elements? So I want to know, what are you doing to touch your partner to enliven and keep the passion going that you want to touch it? You want to be, are you asking to cuddle? Are you, even touching the partner? Are you doing a little booty squish, grabbing each other's booties, whatever? What about even, just holding each other, embracing each other, just going up to each other and kissing each other, and not just a peck on the cheek, right? That could be fine. That could be dandy, right? But a peck on the cheek just turns into maybe turns into a routine. It turns into maybe out of habit. Instead of that, you're actually, you're feeling it, right? I want to know, what are you doing? Not maybe I want to know. I want you to know what you're doing and what you can do to kick that up a notch, and actually what you need from your partner to, kick that passion and keep it going, that not only that you have each other's backs emotionally, that you're there, but also the physical element helps trigger and enliven and keep the passion going for all times. Yeah, we know medical conditions. We know, I have a couple this evening I saw, that he got switched to midnights and she works days. And how do you maintain the passion, everything, when you work different shifts or one gets traveling for business? You can still do that. When was the last time, we're talking about this in human sexuality earlier today when I taught about how many, and actually there's majority of women in the class other than two gentlemen and then myself. Lisa, welcome. That were, what do you do to maintain the passion in your relationship? It was sort of a pre-core to tonight's radio show, and it sort of tied in with, human sexuality and relationship dynamics that we're touching on. And I asked, how many women do you send or do you write a love note to your significant other, right? How many? And it was funny. It's sort of sad. Not one woman in the class, ranging from 18 to probably mid-50s, okay? They range in how many women do you write a love note to their significant other, right? Their partner, their man, boyfriend, husband, doesn't matter. Out of, let's say, there were 16, 17 women in the class today, only one said, I do that to my boyfriend. I write him love notes. I write him all this stuff. And one also said, well, I text him different things. You know what? And you look at how many women are looking for the man, and they always bash the man to look at, you know what? He needs to buy me flowers. He needs to write love notes. He needs to be able to look at those elements to know, the elements that, he needs to feel special. He needs to feel appreciated. He needs to feel desired too. And how many of you are always waiting for your partner? And this goes for men too. And this attribute to how many of you are waiting for your partner to make the first move. You know what? I'm not doing anything until they do it. Then pretty soon, you both are left. You're not doing anything. Now you're wondering why, you know what? You don't feel desired. You don't feel loved. And the passion dies in the relationship because you are waiting for the other one. I'm not doing anything until they do. You have this sort of arrogance or stubbornness, maybe narcissism, that goes on. Not that you are, but it's just those attributes to be able to carry on those elements, and what kills the relationship because you are waiting for them to make the first move, right? To write you a love letter before you, or bring you flowers, or bring you, put a little sticky note. I love you. You're beautiful. Vicky is in the house. Miss Vicky Lee, talented artist out of Wisconsin. Welcome. I think it's been a while since you've been in here. So I want to, what are you doing instead of waiting for your partner to do it? Can you enliven yourself to do that? When was the last time you wrote your partner a love note? You know what? I desire you. I can't wait to kiss you. I can't wait to rip your clothes off. You know what? I love you. Or show appreciation in a love note. Do kind gestures for your partner instead of looking at the element to where you're, you know what? I'm not doing anything because they don't. Maybe they're waiting for you to do it. I'm not saying that's justified. I'm not saying that is a legitimate excuse. I want both of you. Now, if you both do that, phenomenal. But what is getting in the way of you doing that? What is getting in the way of you taking the lead and you taking the initiative of doing that? And it was ironic, like I said, in the human sexuality class earlier today, only one woman said she writes love notes, love letters to her boyfriend. Another one said, I do text messages, or used to do text messages, when she was in a prior relationship, different things. That's great. That's dandy. It's awesome. But how many of you stop doing that? And not to get, we'll get into gender roles and all this. That's the guy's job. That's the guy's job to keep, courting me, to keep, me entice, whatever. What the hell are you doing, ladies, to entice your man and to keep that going? Are you showing him affection? Are you showing him whatever? Or does it turn into a tit for tat? And that, let's face it, it's going to kill the passion big time, people. And, I'm all about, if you're doing what you need, you're going up to embrace him. You're going up to initiate the kissing, to touching them, hugs and all that aspects, to initiate the compliments. That is awesome. He needs to do that too. He needs to follow up. I'm not saying it's the one thing I would love. In Greg's perfect world of Fantasyland, both of you would initiate that. Both of you would be doing what you're supposed to do to make the other person feel special, to feel beautiful, to feel handsome, to feel sexy. Ooh, yeah, baby. How many people, when was the last time you made your man or your lady, guys listening, feel sexy, right? And how do you do that? Do you even have a clue what they need? And you look at, when you first started dating and getting into a relationship, what were you doing then to make the person feel important, to make them feel desired? Well, Greg, I got kids now. I got work, and I got this. I hear it all the time. I hear it daily in my office here in Detroit. You know what? I look at it, you know what? You put so much effort into your job, getting a promotion, maybe going to school. You put so much effort into being a parent. I give you props. Terrific. But if you don't put a balanced effort into your relationship, the passion is going to die, and you're left wondering, after a while, one day turns into a week, turns into a month, and let's face it, it kills the passion. And you're wondering, after a time frame, you're wondering what the hell happened. How do we get to that point? I'm guilty of it. I've been there myself where, maybe I'm not feeling a certain way. I'm not feeling loved. I'm not feeling, desired. And then what happens is, I back away. I get so, I get withdrawn, and I'm honest. I tell, if I don't feel a certain way, I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to talk about it. That's just me. I'm open. I want to try to resolve the issues, and if that person still doesn't care, you know what? I'm going to withdraw. I'm going to back out. We're in trouble. But if you keep waiting for your partner to make the first move and make you feel loved and appreciated, I want you to flip that script and to look at, what are you doing? Are you sitting back and being sort of reactive instead of being proactive and keeping the passion, keeping the love life and the fire going big time, okay? Annetta, welcome. I'll get a huge prop to Annetta. We need to, oh my God, there is an event coming in downtown Detroit. There are a bunch of, I want to say, exotic, erotic authors from Detroit. I'm going to be there with my book. That is going to be at the 211 Lounge March 18th. And for you ladies that are in Metro Detroit area, I'm going to love it because there's going to be a lot of ladies there. But you ladies might also love it that there's going to be male dancers, right? And if there's a special treat, if Annetta lets me, maybe I'll dance. No, hell no. You don't want to see me. I'm teasing, right? I'll be out there shaking my booty. No, I'm not wearing a thong. That's not my thing. So I'm going to have Annetta. She shared the memo about it, a flyer and everything on my Facebook. And I'm going to ask her to sort of share that again so people can still buy tickets and everything else. That's going to be March 18th here, downtown Detroit. Actually, next block over from my office. So if maybe if I get paid enough money, maybe I'll be able to dance, whatever, and everybody will laugh at me and joke around big time, okay? So that's going to be March 18th. So I want to give a shout out to Annetta for setting that up and everything. It's going to be a blast. Going to be, and we're going to have not only myself be offering, I'll have my books there for signing and everything else. There's going to be a bunch of other authors too, with, exotic romance novels and area Detroit authors. So it's going to be really cool. A huge plug for Detroit and the area authors as well. So I want to give a huge prop out to that. Now, and you also can get on to the element to where I am looking at, no, thank you. You're welcome, but thank you as well for having me along too. It's going to be fun. But you look at the element to where, with the passion. And in my book, Love's Essence, the relationship guide, I talk about, keeping the passion going and what are you doing? It does take work. We get overwhelmed. I get it. We get tired. We all have bad days. You need to suck it up. You need to look at, what are you doing? Even though you're tired and everything else, maybe your life is out of balance, right? Something's got to give. And it's ironic how many times the relationship is the one to suffer. The relationship or marriage is the one to suffer because everything else is a priority, right? The kids, the work, maybe other families, other, those elements, whatever, okay? Those are left, and you need to look at the element. Hopefully I'm not losing signal or anything else. There might be some delay or something going on. So with the weather aspect. So I want to make sure everything's going okay. So keep me up to date, people. If you can, chime in or just drop a note, say everything's fine on your end. The audio and the video feed are going smooth, okay? Now, I am going to take a little breather, and we'll come back. Do not go anywhere, okay? I'm going to be back live. I'm just going to take a little breather, play a little song, and then we'll be back shortly. This is the Art of Relationships radio show. My website, theartofrelationships.org, and you can get my book on ebook on my website for only 99 cents. The paperback version is available on Amazon. Again, that's Love's Essence, the Relationship Guide, okay? And I will be back shortly. Thank you.
Unembarrassed, met one crazy bitch, but she's lovely and she's addictive. My nicotine, the one from my dreams in the morning, and she's vindictive. She makes me wish that girls like this came with warnings. And we drive each other absolutely insane, but it would be a crime for us to stay away. So I say, come here, can I have this dance? Is there room for romance and a spiteful little connection? Will you take my hand and we can pretend that there will never ever be any problem? 'Cause when I look into her eyes, I forget them, and when she spins into the light, I regret them. Pretend that everything is fine, we'll correct them. Oh, can I have this dance? She's a total lush, but she's such a riot, she just can't keep quiet about me. She's in love with the drama, but this way I don't have to pay for reality TV. She sleeps around, but hey, who doesn't? It's just better for when we're together. She lies to herself when she says that we won't stay in love forever. And we drive each other absolutely insane, but it would be a crime for us to stay away. So I say, come here, can I have this dance? Is there room for romance and a spiteful little connection? Will you take my hand and we can pretend that there will never ever be any problem? 'Cause when I look into her eyes, I forget them, and when she spins into the light, I regret them. Pretend that everything is fine, we'll correct them. Oh, can I have this dance? Whoa, you got me going so. So I say, come here, can I have this dance? Is there room for romance and the spiteful little connection? Will you take my hand and we can pretend? So I say, come here, can I have this dance? Is there room for romance and the spiteful little connection? Will you take my hand and we can pretend that there will never ever be any problem? 'Cause when I look into her eyes, I forget them, and when she spins into the light, I regret them. Pretend that everything is fine, we'll correct them. Oh, can I have this dance?
And we're back live, people. This is the Art of Relationships radio show. And I'm your host, Greg Dzinski, Detroit's Love Guru. Licensed professional counselor here in the state of Michigan in private practice. Again, you check out my website, theartofrelationships.org. I I appreciate it. Every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, the Art of Relationships radio show live on Facebook and also live on the Spreaker app, Spreaker.com, SoundCloud, and there's a few other ones as well. I appreciate everybody tuning in. It's my passion, big time, to help other people out there to have dynamic, loving, passionate relationships, and not just short term, long term. We all go ebb and flow throughout, relationships, long term relationships. There's an ebb and flow about that, and the more we understand that, the more we, accept that, not the bad stuff, but accept that they ebb and flow and how we work together. Hey, Mr. Dickinson, Chris, welcome. It's about time you show up, man. But we look at the situation to where, the ebb and flow of relationships and how we, sort of get one another, how we enliven each other. But more importantly, that we're not afraid to rock the boat. We're not afraid to bring up stuff when we have issues going on in a relationship. You know what? I miss our passion instead of taking it for granted. I had a client a while ago, probably a year ago, that, a couple that come in, and she made a comment that just sort of, let's face it, it irked me. I get it. I hear this often. You know what, Greg? You know what? Over time, passion and intimacy and sex, it's supposed to go away, in long-term relationships. I said, why is that? Because society says it is? That's BS. It only goes away because you allow it to go away, and you don't do the work to keep it going. You don't keep, we take each other for granted. Maybe we, he loves me, she loves him, or he loves her type of thing, and you take it for granted. But this is the show that I want to talk about, keeping that passion going. And what do you do to keep that going? This is for both men and women, not a gender bias, not bashing one gender or another. People know me. I hate stereotypes. I hate gender stereotypes, except for two. I do agree with that, but most of the time, you look at as the individual person, how are you as an individual man, how are you as an individual woman, and forget about the gender stereotypes, but all men are this, all women are that, forget about that. You know what? All women love notes. All women love flowers. No, they don't. Some men like getting flowers. Some men love getting love notes too. So you have to get at and get keyed in, get clued in to what your partner needs to keep the passion going, to keep the fire burning for you. Yes, it does take work and it takes passion. But if you don't make your partner feel important, you know what? Well, somebody else might, right? I don't ever condone it. I don't excuse it. I just look at so many couples where there's cheating and affairs going on, what causes them, and I try to prevent that. I want you to look at what can you do to make your partner feel loved and appreciated and desired, right? Not only that, I want your partner to do the same for you. Again, it's not one-sided. It's both of you working together to, kick up the intimacy, to kick up the passion, whatever. And a lot of times when we don't feel that, we withdraw, we argue about the simple, stupidest things. So, things that you can do before we get into the menopause aspect, can you hug each other? Can you kiss each other? Write little love notes, little sticky notes. I love you on the mirror. And we're talking about different, things that you might like, your partner might like. Just the simple things, a little, grab them in the butt. How many guys would like their butt grab? Hey, Chris, would you like your butt grabbed by your wife? Those type of things to make them feel sexy, to make her feel sexy and beautiful and desired. When that starts happening, you start losing respect for each other. You start taking each other for granted. Then the emotional disconnect kicks in. Then, of course, when that kicks in, let's face it, the passion dies, right? Passion, the intimacy level, emotional and physical intimacy goes right down the toilet. I want you to avoid that and look at, if you start sensing it, you start feeling it, I want you to jump on it right now. I want you to address it right now so it doesn't go beyond da-da-da. We all have bad days, right? We have that. We have bad days. But if you start seeing a pattern kicking up, one bad day turns into a week, a month, whatever, I want you to be able to jump on it and handle it, and also be mature enough and confident enough. You know what? If your partner is honest with you, you know what? I want more passion. I feel rejected. I feel, well, I'm tired. I'm this. I'm that. How many people have been there and they come up with all these excuses? They come up with all these logical reasons and rational reasons. Right? It's easy. I get it. Logical excuses, right? I'm tired. The kids, da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, what can you do? Okay, maybe your partner can say, man or woman, right? What can I do to help you not be so overwhelmed and not be so burdened? What can I do to help out and concentrate so we have time to concentrate on us to reignite that passion and keep it going? That's huge, right? How many people want that? People are scared to death to give me a call. 313-614-9498. Heidi, welcome. Amy, welcome. Very cool. Welcome. Thanks for joining again, people. And throw out your questions, your comments below. I'd love to hear or get some feedback. What are you doing to enliven your relationship, your love life, to keep the passion going? Or if it's died, what are you doing to reignite it, right? What are you doing to kick it up before it gets dead? Let's face it, okay? Sometimes after a certain while, some people, you know what? I don't even care anymore. That is a sure tale sign that your relationship is getting very, very close to dying, okay? When someone starts not caring about that, they don't, they're set up and they blunt themselves. They block themselves out from feeling, they don't want to feel desire because they know they're not going to get it. They don't feel loved or respected. And those aspects where you get in a situation where, you know what, I don't even want to feel that anymore because I know I'm going to get rejected. I'm going to get disappointed. They don't even care about me or my feelings. And when they start feeling like they don't even care, it don't even hurt anymore, I'm going to tell you it's a very, very difficult road to repair. Even with, couples in my office, over many years, I've been doing this a long time now, I get the situation to where, you know what, it gets to that point. Now, I'm going to tell you, even from, I bust my ass to kick it up, but once it's dead, it's very, very difficult to have somebody, because they don't want to get set up again where, you know what, it's going to last a week or two, and then we're going to go back in there. I guard against that. So I want you to look at what you can do to kick that passion up. And also, you know what, have your partner take responsibility in what they can do to maintain that passion and what you need to feel special, important. You know what? The kids, I keep coming, the kids, the work, overwhelmed. We have a sick relative we're taking care of. I get all that. But when it comes down to it, you know what? You have to make that relationship a priority again overall. And when it doesn't, you know what? Your partner is going to feel lonely. They're going to feel everything else, the kids, work, other family members, friends, whatever, are going to be more important and more a priority to you than they are. And that's sad, okay? It's sad. And that's one thing, when we have a bleeding heart and we want to take care of everybody else and not our relationship, that's not a healthy thing. And you're wondering why your partner cheats on you, why they, want a divorce, or why they want to break up. And I do this, I'm kind. You are kind. Maybe you're too kind. Maybe you're spreading yourself too thin and not putting yourself into dedication and showing the passion in your relationship or marriage, okay? Annetta, you mentioned after 16 years of marriage, we try to keep things fresh in many different ways. You know what? That's awesome. And it doesn't always have to be, everyone talks about, the newness, and everyone talks about how you keep things fresh. And I think you do by emotionally connecting. Touching is huge. And those things, spending time together. And it's not that you're spending time together. You're sitting on the couch and she's on her phone and you're on your phone, but you're sitting next to sitting next to each other. That's not being together, even talking, even old-fashioned board games where you can communicate and talk and you're paying attention to each other and not electronic devices, whatever. So, a lot of people, it doesn't mean you can keep things fresh, doesn't mean you have to always go on vacation all the time. It doesn't mean you have to get into whips and chains and all that stuff. Keeping things fresh means maybe doing the things that you used to do before when you felt loved and you felt important and desired, that you couldn't wait to frickin' feel each other's naked bodies anymore. How frickin' hot is that, right? Annetta, I agree with you big time that touching is number one. I love it. I love to be touched. I want to feel touched. I love the silkiness of the lady's skin. That type of element. I love that connection, the physical and the emotional elements, big time, okay? So it's important, challenge yourself to make the relationship and your partner a priority, okay? And it is a balancing act. I'm not saying it's freaking easy. It might not be. We get tired, we get overwhelmed, but you need to do and look at what is important to you to maintain and have a good, healthy relationship, right? You have to put in the effort, and I want your partner to put in the effort too. And if they're not willing to put in that effort, they're not willing to do that, then maybe you're with the wrong partner. You've heard me say that on numerous shows before, right? You need to do the assessment. You know what? I'm doing the work. Now I want them to do the work too, okay? It's a balance. Sometimes you're doing more work than they are. Sometimes they're doing more work in the relationship than you are. It's a balancing act. But when one partner is doing majority of the work 90% of the time, ooh, you know what? That partner's going to get resentment. They're not going to want passion. They're not going to even want it. The resentment's going to come in, anger, all that stuff kicks in, and it's just going to go down the toilet even more, okay? Now, we want to switch gears as a special request is talking about menopause. I don't know how many ladies are listening or watching to the show that are in menopause, that are premenopausal, or maybe they're on the verge, they're reaching their maybe late 40s and thinking about menopause. And I've dealt with, women, I know women before that have been as early, even in their early 30s that have been in, premenopause, and you think that's early. It does happen. And also when you're in full-blown menopause, how it affects a relationship, how it affects your sex life, okay? And looking at those dynamics, and those people, I know, people that also have full hysterectomies that get thrown right full tilt into full-blown menopause because of a full hysterectomy. The partial hysterectomy, no, you're not going to enter menopause because you still have your ovaries or one ovary, maybe both ovaries that are producing estrogen levels, okay? But when you have your, the full hysterectomy, when your ovaries, I can't even talk, when your ovaries are removed, your estrogen levels get depleted. The ovaries are producing estrogen levels, so when those are removed, guess what happens? The mood swings, when they start tapering off, the night, the hot flashes, the, cold sweats, those keep tripping up, right? So how sexy, how important do you do? Having a supportive partner is huge, okay? Guys, I want you to pay attention. It's not the women's fault that they're in this. I'm not saying you have to like it, guys, but I want you to get educated. I want you to learn what goes on in those situations. And when women start, entering menopause or full-blown menopause or post-menopausal, they're, the vaginal lubrication dries up. Let's face it, okay? And there's some things that can be used, there's saline solution. There's different things. There's water-soluble lubricants that can work and can work, well. And not only that, a lot of women, we talk about, not only vaginal dryness, but with menopause, what happens as women age, the lining of their vaginal walls, they get thin. So sex can become painful. So when you mix up with, let's face it, vaginal dryness, right? Having sex, it's almost like you're frickin' having sandpaper. Ugh, I'm thinking I don't have a vagina, but I can imagine, right? Like having sex and it feels like sandpaper. That is not cool, right? So lubrication is huge. There's, silicone lubricants. There's oil-based lubricants, and I'm going to get into those in a bit. Water lubricants. Everyone talks about that. Water lubricants, the one thing that help with vaginal dryness, they can benefit, but what I found with a lot of water-based lubricants is that they don't last long, right? They don't last long and they get gummy, okay, which makes it uncomfortable for sex too. And, if you're in menopause, whatever, worried about pregnancy, whatever, or maybe he's fixed, that type of thing, or maybe even you had your tubes tied, I always recommend it's got to be organic, 100% organic, either olive oil or my favorite, is 100% grapeseed oil. Grapeseed oil is high, also olive oil, it is high in vitamin E. Vitamin E it's very, very healthy for your skin, especially, I'm doing a little, the vaginal linings, when they thin, whatever, the vitamin E is very, very healthy for your vaginal lining, not only, with menopause aspects, but also when you're not freaking in menopause. However, I need to, with the olive oil or grapeseed oil, again, very, very important. It's got to be 100%, no additives added to it. But you cannot use them with condoms, okay? Because condoms, even though it's like a vegetable or grapeseed, like a fruit-based oil, natural oil, it will break down latex condoms, okay? So you can't use them. You have to use, water-based lubricants with condoms, okay? So to get into that, a lot of people don't even know about, and even grapeseed oil can be a great massage oil for the boobies and the body. They feel great. Grapeseed oil is tasteless. It's odorless. So even using a little dab will do you, even going downtown. Ooh, how many ladies like to sort of have their partner go downtown and sort of orally please you? And you can have dryness, whatever. And the grapeseed oil, like I said, it's odorless. It's tasteless. So it can be very enjoyable to both of you, okay? Not only that, when you're going in menopause aspects, when you're looking at the mood swings, a lot of things to look at. And we all know, the dangers of hormone replacement. Maybe a little bit of hormone replacement therapy can help. Now, you have to do a history, right? Is there genetic predispositions to breast cancer, to other ovarian cancers, right? But if you have a full hysterectomy, you don't have to worry about ovarian cancer because it's done. It's out, right? But other cancers, especially, breast cancers and breast cancer prevention, so hormone replacement therapy can be dangerous, but little amounts might help, okay? And it also, little amounts might help and also might not be harmful or a precursor to cause breast cancer. You need to talk to your OB, and also maybe do a genetic makeup, do a genetic test, testing to see what, predispositions you might have and do a family history. Your biological mother, your biological grandmother, those type of things to be able to assess if hormone replacement, they can help with the night sweats, they can help with the cold sweats until you're full blown. Another thing I recommend, and it's worked very, very well for probably 85 to 90% of the women that I know, and this goes for African American women, white women, Asian women, doesn't matter, is black cohosh, and it's spelled, cohosh is spelled COHOSH. I highly recommend that for a lot of women. Another thing, it's maybe a little dangerous, is DEA, okay? Or DHEA, I'm sorry, I forgot the H. It can be beneficial for women with the mood swings and the mood swings, the dryness a little bit. And also, the night sweats and the cold sweats, the night sweats, the sweating, all that aspects, it can help with those aspects. But you might want to only take the DHEA once a week. You got to be careful because some of it can be a little bit dangerous, so you don't want to overuse it. And black cohosh. And if there's any debate, any questions, I always recommend you talk to your OB about those aspects. And you have some doctors that do not like natural methods, natural, vitamins, minerals, so attributes as far as, vitamin, mineral, black cohosh, DHEA. They might guard against it because they're all medical community and they're all this, they're all that, whatever. Check with a lot of, check with your OB about that too. I'd rather have you safe, than have complications coming out. But those elements can help you with those, issues, okay? Not only that, with the mood swings, sometimes with the mood swings, and even the hot and cold flashes going through menopause, one attribute where a lot of people don't know of are SSRI. They're mild antidepressants. There's Zoloft, Celexa, Lexapro. I don't really recommend for that, but usually the Celexa, the Zoloft, sometimes Paxil a little bit as well, can help with those. Believe it or not, they help sort of kill the sweats and chills and all those aspects, and also help with the mood swings too. Can they help? They might decrease sexual appetite, sexual desire. That's where I recommend a low dose, and those can help too. If they're that bad. If nothing else is working, the black cohosh, those elements are not working to your liking. You know what? I recommend, SSRIs, they can help those aspects too. A mild dose. Yes, it is a prescription. So you have to get that from your OB or from your family doctor, okay? But when you're full-blown menopause, let's face it, your sexual desires, because of your estrogen levels are, they're gone or depleting, your sexual desire typically is going to be killed anyways, but there are some ways to get through that. And another element I hear all the time, you know what, Greg, menopausal women, they're not horny, they're whatever. I can tell you a lot of women that they're past menopause and they're horny and they want a healthy sex life and they want to feel desired. They love sex. So every woman is different. You know what? There's a lot of women that are post-menopausal, been through it. They're horny. They want an active sex life big time. And you look at even women that are, maybe in their mid-30s that have had a full hysterectomy, they want a sex life too. They want to be pleased. And not only that, the sexual intimacy shared between couples. We talked about the passion at the beginning of the show can, enliven and keep that going, the passion and the emotional intimacy levels on all levels, the, emotional, the soulful, the physical, of course, to keep going. So I'm all about helping you do that and getting rid of myths that people read about. You know what? Guys are thinking, woman's in menopause or postmenopausal, there goes my sex life. Not at all. It's about educating yourself. Not only educating what you read in books or online articles. Some of them can be valid, but you also got to be careful where that information is coming from because it can be very biased. It can be very judgmental. And it might be, men, you need to be okay with your woman not being this way. Well, maybe your wife or girlfriend is not that way. Maybe they're the exception to the rule, and you need to educate yourself and communicate with one another and what's going on and what is important to each one of you, okay? Don't be biased. Don't be judgmental. You need to get educated with doctors. Get to naturalists, okay? Get educated within yourself and your own body and what's going on. And having, like I said, ladies, and I preach this, I promote this to guys, to be supportive to your lady. Understand it's not their fault when they're going through menopause or even even, like I said, the full hysterectomy where the ovaries are removed as well as the uterus. It's not the lady's fault, okay? be supportive, and educate yourself what goes on with the night sweats and how can you help those elements. You know what? How can you help that your partner, your wife, your girlfriend go through menopause or, a full-blown hysterectomy, and how you can be emotionally supportive, physically supportive, and being there, being understanding. And that's going to make that process a hell of a lot easier to go through that. I'm not going to say it's going to be fully easy. I'm just saying it's going to be a lot easier, okay? When she feels supportive and she feels like you're paying attention, you get her, you understand her, and you understand she's not the enemy, and it's not her fault, but how you can support that and manage that as a team effort, a team approach. Even when I'm talking about, early ejaculation, premature ejaculation, erectile problems with guys, I always take it as a team approach, right? It shouldn't be the guy's, it's his fault. It's his issue to deal with. I want that to be the issue to deal with, and you have a team concept that you're going to deal with together, and you're going to support one another, okay? Again, this is Greg's fantasy world. This is what I try to promote with couples on a daily basis when they come in with these issues, be it, menopausal issues or erectile or, vaginal pain disorder, vaginismus, all these elements to deal with as a team approach, that your partner is not the enemy. They are not the one with the issue. It's a relationship issue, okay? And the more you feel like a team approach, just like I said at the beginning of the show with the passion and, what's going on when the passion dies, whatever, I want it to be a team approach. And you being a team member and you being a team aspects to look at the situation and where, what am I doing as a teammate? What am I doing to be a better teammate and a team player to do my role in making my partner feel passion, to feel electrified and feel loved in a relationship? But again, you need to check yourself and what are you doing? It's not always up to your partner. It's up to both of you. So you need to sort of, put away your ego and put away, your maybe insecurities or defensiveness, and look at what are you doing to maintain the passion? What are you doing to maintain that? And also with the menopause aspect, what are you doing to communicate your needs? And we all know, well, maybe we all don't know, with the menopause aspect, there's going to be times, ladies, when you're in menopause, you're going to go crazy. Let's face it, right? Hormones are depleting. You don't know what the hell's going on. Your mood swings. You're going to be pissed off, angry, bitchy one minute, and maybe, crying another minute and deplace and feel not feminine anymore. But I want you to communicate that with your partner and be open. Don't hide it. Don't try to deal with it all. It's all up to you to deal with on your own. No. I want you to communicate that. And I want your partner to be supportive and be understanding. Again, like I said, I teach people trying to be understanding to one another and to be able to look at what the hell is happening and talk to each other, okay? Be there for each other. It's not always easy. It's not a perfect world. I get that. There's going to be times where you miss, you screw up, right? They're not always going to be there, whatever. But to get back, hey, you know what? I get, you're human, whatever, but I need you. And that comes from both genders. It's not a woman only, a man only thing. It's an individual thing, and try to get clued in, okay? This is the Art of Relationships radio show. Again, check out my website, theartofrelationships.org. My book, Love's Essence, it's my second book out. It's like a second edition to my first one. Love's Essence, the relationship guide. You can get a copy for 99 cents of the ebook on my website and also the paperback version on Amazon.com, okay? One quick thing before I say good night. We got a question. How do you effectively communicate these problems without offending your partner? That's a great question. I get actually asked this a lot. A lot of times it comes with, we talk about delivering. I'm not one to always sugarcoat things. I want you to be honest. And you can say, I don't feel loved by you. I don't feel appreciated. And I want to feel I love you. I feel appreciated. One thing I always talk about, and I mentioned this People that have listened to the show for a long time, heard me say this. I'm all about, people say, I love you, I adore you. You know what? You're the world to me. However, I want to feel more passion for you. I want to feel more respect from you. And right when you say, I adore you, I love you, you're my world, that lowers the defenses, okay? That lowers the defenses where you're saying, however, I don't feel loved by you. I don't feel important by you, and I want to feel that way from you, okay? So that's a quick little snippet to how you go about doing that, okay? That way it's going to sort of lower the defenses of your partner, and then you can get at the part, I want to feel that way from you. Well, screw you, and it turns into a tit for tat. No, I don't want a tit for tat. You know what? My feelings matter, and I want to feel loved, and I want to make sure you feel loved by me too. And if that partner doesn't care, doesn't give a shit anymore, then maybe you're with the wrong partner. Maybe that relationship needs to be reassessed. And again, maybe get some help. Call me if you're in the Metro Detroit area. Not only that, you know what? I do Skype sessions. I do phone sessions where appropriate. Not everything domestic violence issues. I'd rather have you in my office, okay? But those are some quick suggestions. Everybody have a good night. Make sure to check out my website, theartofrelationships.org. Peace and love to everybody out there. Keep spreading peace and love to everybody, okay? Take care. Good night, everybody. Take care.